Revelation 13. Revelation 13 and 9, if you will, my brother. Watch this. I want you to tell me what this means.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear.
You have ears. So far, you've been eloquent in your speaking. You've been able to articulate your points. Now, let's see how well you're able to hear these scriptures. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity.
This is now pertaining to him that led into captivity, right? What does it say about him that led into captivity?
Shall go into captivity.
It says that the man that led into captivity shall go into captivity. What is it? What does it say next?
He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword.
Is this talking about an isolated incident, or is this talking about in general? Is this talking about nation?
It's a really good question. No. All I'm saying with that and following in terms to Revelation is that if you believe that in the book of Revelations, Jesus is coming back down to save us, to give us salvation for those that believe in him, that those that are faithful in his word, where he's going to come down and bring us back up to sit with him and his Father. That doesn't mean that the sins of our fathers have transferred down onto us. You know, the things that my ancestors did and that were done unto my ancestors, I don't have to bear that cross anymore because Jesus already bore that cross for me. He already fought that thing. When he was on that cross, bleeding to death with his knees broken, he was already well aware of every single sin that would happen after that. And he was still willing to die and go through with it. He was still willing to not fight when they laid him on the cross.
Let's pause there.
Right.
Because now what we need to address is a few points.
Right.
Is there any prophecy that supports your outlook in terms of men not bearing the sins of their forefathers?
Only the book of Revelation saying that those that are faithful to the word of God and son of Jesus when he comes back down.
So do you think that's a form of eisegesis, where you kind of look at something that you read somewhere and you're kind of imposing an ideology based off of that on other parts of the Bible?
Through the book of Revelations?
Yeah.
No, sir. No. When the four trumpets play, the four trumpets play. And Jesus comes down and the people that are faithful in his word rise with him. In the same way as he promised John, because John was the only prophet that lived a peaceful life after being tortured. He went to John in a vision and told him the prophecy of Revelations that you were reading from. Now, I believe that Jesus died on the cross for not my sins, not your sins, but all of our sins. Anybody in him and believes in the sacrifice that he did for us, and that he was divine in doing so, that he was the Word, that he was the Spirit of God in flesh, then there's no reason why any man, white, black, brown, purple, yellow, red, doesn't matter. If we are faithful in that and believe in his sacrifice, why they shouldn't be up there with him.
Is that what Jesus said?
Yes. That whoever shall believe in me
Let me get
shall
Matthew
not perish.
15 and 24. Watch this. Do you think this is a situation where Jesus is talking to a room full of people, or he's talking to a region of people or a group of people, and he's telling them that whoever within that demographic that this may apply to, and then somebody happens to hear about it later on, and now they're assuming that there are people who are in that group? Like, do you think that could be happening by any chance?
No, because the way that God talked about other groups of people.
No, it's good. No, it's good. Let's just go to this point.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 15, verse 24.
Tell me what this means.
But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
I'm not sent but to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So
Say that one more time. I like that.
If Christ is sent to die, why is he saying this? Go ahead.
But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Why is he saying that?
I'm not quite understanding it. I'm sorry.
Jesus
He
is saying
said,
this.
I am not sent but unto the lost sheep.
Previously, a woman of another nation came to ask Jesus to heal her.
To heal her. Yeah.
And he says, what?
Read
And
the
he
whole
says,
thing. Okay.
but then what? Then how does she answer?
And behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the same coast and cried unto him, saying, Have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with the devil.
Mm-hmm.
But he answered her not a word. But he answered her not a word.
So first he ignores it, right?
Right.
Go ahead.
Right.
And his disciples came and besought him, saying, Send her away, for she crieth after us. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Now what is she saying?
Then came she and worshipped him, saying, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, It is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it to dogs.
So are we all the children of God?
Yes.
Read that again.
But he answered and said, It is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it to dogs.
Why is he calling her a dog and distinguishing her from the children that he came?
Well, first of all, he's not calling her a dog. He's making a metaphor. And what is it? What happens right after? What does she say right after? Even the dogs deserve the crumbs that are cast.
So now, and you're admitting that he called her a dog, and she acknowledges that she's a dog.
That he made a metaphor relating her and her people to dogs.
So there's still,
in the same way that I would even refer to the people of Germany and the people of Europe as dogs.
but you're still distinguishing. What was you gonna say?
He said children and he said dogs. So he using two different groups of people. What he's saying is, if she is a child of God, why is she being distinguished as dogs? That doesn't push it apply because he said children. And then he said dogs. So it has to be two different groups there. It can't be one.
Oh, I mean, he refers to the lost sheep of Israel as he's referring to the people of Israel as no more than cattle or just a meal.
But he calls them the lost sheep of the house of Israel, and this is the way that it's functioning is he's come to save the sheep of the house of Israel. Like read where it says, "I've not been sent but to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." So the significance of this is identifying them as the sheep that Ezekiel talked about. He said he sees his people as lost sheep. So Christ came for the lost sheep, and those lost sheep are identified as the house of Israel. And they're also being identified as children, whereas this heathen woman is being identified as a dog by him and her. Now, what I'll admit is submission is always going to win when you're dealing with your superior, right? Christ is everybody's superior. This does not mean, however, that she's a child of God because she believed. So right now, what we need to do is reconcile the weakness in the logic that you have that everybody's the children of God. I want you to read that again where we left off, and then I want you to get Psalms 23 and 5.
I'm just listening and learning. I don't have the knowledge that they have when it comes to that book.
Yes, he's not been indoctrinated, right? So now he's listening objectively. The problem is that there's a cognitive dissonance. You're saying that you believe in the Bible, but you kind of have to find a way to circumnavigate what the text is saying in order to substantiate the belief that God is trying to save everybody. But we're not going to just isolate this. I'm just trying to get you to break it down so I can understand your group. Go ahead.
But he answered it from the top. And behold, a woman of Canaan came out on the same coast and cried unto him, saying,
Hold there. Now, have we always all been the children of God?
Well, God does say that our names are already chosen for us before we're even born.
So we've all been the children of God since day one. Yes, sir.
One, yes, if Jesus says that our names are already picked out for us before we're born, then yeah.
So watch this. Let me get Deuteronomy 7 and 1. Hold that and get Deuteronomy 7. We're gonna look at the text and see that the Canaanites were never the children of God. So now this is something that we're gonna have to bring into the New Testament and find out if the same sentiment towards the Canaanites is being continued or if it's different somehow.
It's the book of Deuteronomy chapter 7 verse 1. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land, whither thou go to possess it.
What land did they possess? What land did the Israelites possess? The land of Canaan, right? Is that accurate?
I'd say so, yeah.
How did he possess Canaan's land?
I assume they fought for it.
I thought they fought.
I assume they fought for it.
They fought for
They
it.
won a military victory and took the land.
Bingo. I agree. Go ahead.
When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land, whither thou goest to possess it, and hast cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, the Girgashites, and the Amorites, the
The
Canaanites,
Canaanites.
and the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites,
You two a little right.
the Hivites, the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou.
Were the Canaanites included in that list? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them.
You should smite them and utterly destroy them. You're supposed to do that to other children of God?
Well, unfortunately, the Canaanites didn't have God with them at the time.
But you said we've always been children of God.
Yes.
So that's conflict number one that needs to be resolved. We're going to have to come back to this and figure out how they became children of God.
Okay.
All right, keep going.
Neither.
Remember, he said we've all been children of God since day one. This is a problem. if they've all been children of God since day one, you just said they didn't have God on their side, and now there is a need for you to prove that they had become the children of God. Guess what? This is long past day. So I just want you to keep in your mind and be able to make an example of how your logic still stands.
And utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them.
Should you graft them in?
Neither shalt thou make marriages with them.
You shouldn't marry or make no covenants with them.
Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son.
So we're not supposed to deal with them at all, right? Now, let's fast forward to the time of Christ and go back to that text. In Matthew 15. Hey, you can come closer if you want to, because he might need your help after a minute. He's getting bodied.
No, he's not religious like I am.
Matthew 15-24. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
I'm not sent but to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. I want you to pause there and get Matthew 1:21. Let's just see if we're confusing things. Right? Let's see if we're confusing things.
This is Matthew 1:21. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people.
He shall save his people. When you go into the Hebrew, it specifically, I mean not the Hebrew, but the Greek, it specifically says this is talking about a particular people group. So it says that he's coming to save other Israelites, other Jews, and Israelites. So now fast forward to the scripture that we was just on when he says, I've not been sent unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. This is something that we can see in prophecy all the way up to the modern, his contemporary day, where people are being told that he was coming to save them. Right? Yeah. Back in
Matthew chapter 15, verse 25. Then she came and worshipped him, saying, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, it is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it to dogs.
So we shouldn't take the children of Israel's meat and cast them to dogs. I haven't been sent but to the Israelites, and I shouldn't be casting their food to dogs. So he's identifying her as a dog, and we can say he's equating her as a dog. It's not literally one. But he's saying that if we're going to deal with social stratification, which is going to be in the kingdom of heaven, she's at the bottom of the totem pole. Is there going to be social stratification in the kingdom of heaven?
Good question.
Meaning that is there going to be a low class and a high class?
That's a really good question.
Okay, we'll answer this. Keep reading.
I found that interesting.
And she said, truth, Lord, yet the dogs eat the crumbs which fall from their master's table.
So does that mean that she's the children of Israel now? Or does it mean that she's a dog that knows she can get some crumbs? Because a fact is a fact, right? But acknowledging a fact doesn't like elevate you to where now I've acknowledged the fact as a dog, I can now graduate to the class of lion. You're still a dog. She didn't become a wolf. Keep going. You too. What did she say?
And she said, truth, Lord, yet the dogs eat the crumbs which fall from their master's table.
So it's truth that she's a dog, right? So now what's going to be said? Go ahead.
And Jesus answered and said unto her, O woman, great is thy faith. Be it unto thee even as it will.
So where is she being like equated to the children of Israel?
I would say, if there is a right answer, I would say that it's when he acknowledges, he says, oh woman, you have great faith.
Okay.
When you equate to saying that you are a woman of great faith, you're saying that you're willing to come and speak the truth.
Okay, so let's watch this. Is there a prophecy about the table, the table that they're talking about? You know that reference is from a prophecy?
Not.
Okay. Let's get Psalms 23. Psalms 23 and 5. Let's read about this table.
What's your name, Doc?
Ash.
Ash? I'm Noah.
Or Master.
We'll stick with Ash.
Hey, you know in Zechariah 8 where it says that the man out of every nation is going to take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew, saying, we'll go with you that God is with you. You don't know that, huh? Go ahead.
25:3.
23:5.
Gotcha. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 23, verse 5. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies.
So where do you think the enemies is going to be eating from? The table or the crumbs off the floor?
There's a right answer. I say the
There has to be a right answer. The Bible is finite.
That's
It's infinite and the waters are living. But if you can't find the truth, you can't find the right answer in the Bible, where are you going to find it at? You know what I'm saying? So what you got to do is begin to stand on the text. You either believe in this thing or you don't. So now, this is kind of vague, right? Thou preparest a table for me in the midst of my enemies. There's a list of enemies in Psalms 83. Shall we read it?
For the good things of brother Bird.
Ain't my brother.
What a shame you're talking about.
All right, this is the book of Psalms 83. Keep not thou silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God.
Fire at will. You know?
For lo, thy enemies make a tumult.
A tumultuous noise is like what's going on down there. Our enemies, the enemies of God, they're making a loud noise. They're making a ruckus. Why?
And they that hate thee have lifted up their head.
The nations that hate God have lifted up their head.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
What does that crafty counsel consist of?
Are you asking me or something?
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
What was that they were trying to do against the hidden ones? Keep going.
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Let us cut them off from being a nation. Let's disenfranchise them, right? Did the Romans disenfranchise the Israelites? Right? And so when Christ comes on the scene, we can refer to books like Luke, chapter 1, verse 68. The whole idea of salvation is that he's going to save us out of the hand of our enemies and out of the hand of all that hate us. Yet they weren't saved during that time. They were expecting Christ to do it then because they were skipping a beat when it comes to what's called eschatology. Eschatology dictates that the salvation of God is going to occur in this age, meaning that the children of Israel still have to be saved out of the hands of their enemies and out of the hands of all that hate them. Keep reading. Do they have to be saved?
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent.
They have consulted together with one consent.
They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom.
Edom. You know who the Edomites are today?
Who they are today? No.
You said you're from Germany? Your family's from Germany?
My dad's German, my mom's from Palestine.
So would be an Edomite. Really? That's interesting, right? Keep going.
The tabernacles of Edom. And the Ishmaelites.
And the Israelites, are dealing with the Arabs now. Go ahead.
Of Moab.
Moab. Now let's just go ahead and drop it there because we want to make sure that he's able to kind of just keep it a little bit more focused and dialed in. We see that God has sent his son to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. The Canaanite woman, she was referred to as a dog.
I'll go give it to him.
He refers to the Canaanite woman as a dog and says it's not meat for me to give the food of the children and give it to dogs. We find out that they're referring to this table that's written about in prophecy. I prepared a table in the midst of me. So now we need to look into prophecy and figure out what this banquet table looks like. We've gone to the list of enemies and we've seen that your people is actually at the forefront of that list. Right, now let's read about the table. I want you to show me where the oppositions or the dogs are being treated as children of God in this picture, because this prophecy hasn't come to pass. Let's get Isaiah 60 and look. This battery's about to die, so I'll answer these questions and answers in this video. I said the battery on this camera's about to die. Isaiah 60 and 1. I'm going to change the battery. I want you to stick around. You've been doing good so far. But this is going to be very educational.
You guys going to be around here later?
Yeah.
But I do got to get back to the hospital in a minute. But,
Oh, yeah.
but you know what? Whether you look at it as an argument or not, I see a lot of people that talk about the Word of God. I want to keep talking about it.
All right, so let's break this down. Isaiah 60.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1. Arise, shine, for thy light is come.
Are the Israelites supposed to be a light to the Gentiles?
I guess not.
Why not?
Well, if they're at the head of the table, and the Gentiles are the enemies, then God's at the bottom.
Are you familiar with Lucifer, the light bearer?
Yes, I am.
Do you know the context of that reference?
Well, Lucifer means the light.
Light bearer.
Then what's the context of the reference? What reference?
The context of Lucifer, and he's mentioning in the Bible, is that he's the light bearer of the time, but they call him the man that rules the nations in anger, right? Meaning that he's a form of dictator or warlord.
Jesus does refer to him as the prince of the world.
And so, no.
No?
Lucifer is the king of Babylon, right? And when you read about
Jesus calls him the prince of this world, and actually he's offered the kingdom of the world. When Lucifer offers Jesus the kingdom of the world, he's referred to as the God of the world.
You're equating Lucifer with Satan. Nowhere in the Bible are the two meshed together.
Oh, they're not.
No. Lucifer is the king of Babylon, right? What you're dealing with is a dual prophecy, dealing with the king of Babylon during Isaiah's time and the Babylon that will come to be today.
You're talking about a real person.
Yeah, there was a real person.
Not
And his name was not Lucifer. That was the name that was transposed.
given onto him.
Exactly in the Greek language. So
Is this after or before Nebuchadnezzar?
this is after.
After.
So let's read that in Isaiah 60.
Isaiah chapter 60, verse 1. Arise, shine, for thy light is come.
Thy light is come. So we are going to be a light to the Gentiles the same way that the white man is the light to other nations today. Like you have the American dream, right? That's given out as a light. And what do the other nations do? They come to it, right? Who's holding the light? You can just look at it. We go exactly. So they come to it like bugs do.
Where my parents came from, Ellis Island.
But they come here and they still treat it like shit to some degree, right? Depending on what they look like, what nation they come from.
They spelled my grandpa's name wrong. When he came here, they probably on purpose too.
But what we got to figure out is that he's the light of this time. He's still treating people like shit, right? So what makes it any different when the Israelites are a light to the other nations, right? What makes it any different other than our ideas about Christianity, right? The doctrines of Christianity, they're not supported by the scriptures. They're simply, what do you call it, presuppositions. So let's go. Isaiah 60.
For behold, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee.
So when the glory of the Lord rises upon us, our light is going to show. Go ahead.
For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth,
Everywhere else you look, there's going to be darkness covering the earth. Go ahead.
and gross darkness the people. And the Lord shall arise upon thee,
He's going to arise on the Israelites. Go ahead.
and his glory shall be seen upon thee.
Uh-huh.
And the Gentiles shall come to thy light.
The Gentiles are going to come to our light. The nations are going to come to our light. The light is not theirs, but they can come to it. Just like somebody lights a campfire, right? You can be warmed by it, but it's not yours to dictate what goes on around that campfire, is it? Not necessarily, right? Unless you've been invited. Then you're called, you were chosen. The Israelites are called to this salvation. So when we're saved, the Gentiles are going to come to our light. Now we need to ask ourselves what it looks like as the Gentiles are approaching our light. Let's skip down to verse 9.
Verse 9. Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them.
So this is talking about the Israelites being brought from other lands. Go ahead.
Unto the name of the Lord thy God, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee.
He's glorified us. Go ahead.
And the sons of strangers shall build up thy
The
walls.
sons of strangers are going to build up what?
And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls.
I asked you if there was going to be social stratification in the kingdom of heaven, right? We're about to read that there is, right? The strangers, the Gentiles are going to be building up our walls. This is a penalty. This is a punishment. We're going to go into it.
And their kings shall minister unto thee.
Serve us. Go ahead.
For in my wrath I smote thee,
Uh-huh.
but in my favor have I had mercy.
Uh-huh.
Therefore thy gates shall be continually open.
Why are the gates of heaven going to be open continually? So the nations can come in and have a pool party with the Israelites? What do you think?
I guess not.
Yes, not. You're right. Go ahead.
They shall not be shut day nor night.
They're not going to be shut day or night because Montel Jordan going to be singing, "This is how we do it." Hell no, man.
That men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought.
Maybe I was wrong. Read.
For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish.
The nation and kingdom that don't serve us shall perish. So, if you're a Gentile, if you're a dog, where do you think the dog would fall in this prophecy? Like, honestly, is the dog building up the nation of Israel to avoid the threat of death, or are they on the receiving end of this servitude?
They definitely end on the receiving end.
Okay, so boom. Now we can rewind. We can rewind back to this Canaanite woman, realizing that she could eat the crumbs that fell from the table. Right? The scriptures say that when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. Right? The people are mourning right now. So you guys are going to be able to go back into your own land. You'll have to eat the Bible. There's going to be an extermination by any cancer. But everybody else is going to be able to go back into their own land and deal how they're going to deal as long as they serve God. This is where the truth meets any thought about Christianity and matches up in the slightest bit. Everybody's going to know God. But it says the law is going to flow forth out of Jerusalem. Hence, the Gentiles shall come to our light. Right? So you still stand on your position about everybody being a child of God. How is that demonstrated in what we read?
I was going to say I do. Nothing got to read.
Just verbalize that you see the contradiction in your ideology versus what's written in the Bible, because you said clearly you're not on the receiving end of these blessings. Therefore,
all I've seen today is that I've got a lot of faith.
that's good.
But you know what?
Come back. You know what I'm saying? I want to run it up some more.
You going to be here tomorrow?
No, we're here every Saturday.
Saturday?
Every Saturday. And the battery's going to be fully charged. So you better have some ready and have some people with you that's ready to read and help you come out of the scriptures. He did you no good today. He failed you.
You know what? I'm not here to argue. I'm just here to talk about the Word of God.
You got to be ready to prove what's right. The scriptures say, hold fast that which is good, right? You got to prove all things. That's all arguing is. You're not ready to argue. You shouldn't even talk about God.
No?
Contend for the faith. God's not what contended for. Why would he contend for you?
But I don't need to contend. You clearly are already a man of it. You know the scripture well. You've got the word of the Lord inside of you. I suppose we'll all see it again.
So, but you need to be equipped to defend the faith. That's what I'm saying. Like, the people that are really faithful in God, they're doing the work of God. You know, James says that faith without works is dead. So part of that is defending the faith as a Christian. You're not supposed to just go sit in some goddamn church and then agree with a bunch of people that's in your echo chamber. You're supposed to go out and correct the things that are wrong. So this is another way we see that the establishment as it is just completely correct. Just like when we read in Revelations. Matter of fact, go back to Revelation 13. It says the patience and the faith of the saints is that the people that led into captivity and killed with the sword is going to be killed with the sword and led into captivity. You know what I'm saying? And part of that patience and faith is doing the work in exchange for that.
Right?
I
I can tell that by the way that you keep talking to me, not looking me in the eye. I think it's a shame because I love you like a brother. Because you know the Lord. And there's no reason why I would ever hold your knowledge of the Word against me. You clearly look at me and my history and my ancestors against me, right?
Knowledge of God.
Wait, told me this.
Absolutely.
So why would I not function the way that the Word of God tells me to function?
No, what? It's a topic.
Because I haven't threatened you, right? So I'm being peaceable. But I do
like first, like I'm looking at you right
the
now.
scripture says you're wrong. Why would I not look at you that way if the Word of God is true?
I suppose that's right.
So
What crumbs do you have to offer?
I don't have any knowledge right now except this knowledge where you can bless the children of Jacob by letting them know that they're Israelites.
Prepare myself.
No. Wait.
For building up
You're already the enemy, right? You just gotta accept that, right?
I just gotta accept
You
it.
just gotta accept it. I'm not gonna do nothing to you unless God says do
Does God say do something?
Yeah.
Shit, you like saying his name? You're the
Prepare
person.
slot.
Right? And that means that, because look,
Doesn't that make you a
hey,
part
hold
of
on,
it?
side conversation, brother. Hey, brother, if y'all
Yeah.
y'all gonna talk together, you step away.
Oh, sorry, sorry, my man.
It's all good.
Assalamu alaikum.
No.
And Jesus.
No.
And everybody.
Nah.
No, I'm an asshole.
Yes. Keep going.
Appreciate your honesty.
I'm out of here.
Ezekiel 1, yeah, get Ezekiel 1 real quick.
Sorry about that, my man.
It's all good, man. We out here for you though, so when you're ready to listen, come back.
Yeah. It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1, verse 1. Now it came to pass in the 30th year,
We'll come back to your idea in a little bit.
in
Right?
the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I was among the captives by the river of Zamar. I was among the captives.
You said Ezekiel was right there. He's among the captives though.
Sounds like it.
Let's get Daniel 1 real quick. Daniel 1. Let's check out the rhythm of the scripture.
Look at Daniel chapter 1, verse 1. In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem, and besieged it.
Skip down to verse
3. And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, master of his units, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel and of the king's seed,
Some of the children of Israel and of the king's seed. Go ahead.
and of the princes, children in whom was no blemish,
In no, there was no what?
children in whom was no blemish.
Children that were blameless, right? They were brought into captivity as well. So if you come from forefathers that slaughtered Israelites, and the scriptures say, prepare slaughter for the children for the iniquity of their fathers, what makes you think that you get to escape the judgment of the Most High God?
I suppose if you're right, then I shouldn't have that feeling, should I?
Right. The book of Jeremiah chapter
I'm
16.
gonna keep going here,
Come on,
but-
brother. Jeremiah
No, I'm
16,
sorry.
verse 18. And first I will recompense their iniquity and their sin double, because they have defiled my land and have filled mine inheritance with the carcasses of their detestable and abominable things.
Bring that up.
Verse 19. O Lord, my strength and my fortress, and my refuge in the day of affliction.
Mm-hmm.
The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth,
They're going to come to us from the ends of the earth, right?
and
Germany,
shall
all that.
say, surely our fathers have inherited lives.
Hey, you said you love me as a brother. Why you
do.
Why you being disruptive? Listen.
I gotta get going, that's it. I'm here with my brother.
The Gentiles
But hey,
shall come
I
unto
appreciate
thee
your
from the ends
honesty
of the
with me, man.
earth, and shall say, surely our
All right,
fathers have inherited lives.
Your fathers have inherited lies, so what you got to do is accept that your fathers have inherited lies. Like, there's nothing you can do about that. What you can do is let the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans know that they descend from the lost sheep of the house of Israel, and maybe the Most High will give you a quick death. Maybe.
At Bakar, we understand what it means to be chosen, the importance of being holy, and the value of feeling and looking good while doing it. So if you're looking for quality, style, and righteous fashion, choose Bakar. We got you.